Alhamdulillah wahda, wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da, amma ba'd. We have been discussing the issue related to divorce in Islam. And the ayat of Surah-Al-Baqarah, where we have started last week, the initial mention was that of iddah. So when someone is divorced, there's a waiting period. So we describe all of that in detail. So now Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, after explaining the iddah period and then suggesting the wife should go back to the husband if he wanted to take it back, and I've explained some of the basic rulings. So we just have a bit more detail of now the ruling of divorce. What is divorce in Islam? Some basic points. Divorce, as if talaq in Arabic word talaq, it must be spoken or something equal to spoken. There's a word we use in Arabic called lafz. Lafadha yalfidhu mean something which has come out. And for someone who cannot speak, then how would he do the love thing? Love is the word that come out, something that comes out. You throw out a word, you blurt out a word, you speak out a word, you pronounce a word. A word must be pronounced for divorce to happen. That's one condition. And must be very clear. But also, clear as in you can hear it clearly. And what is the limit of that? That will come. If it's in word, then it has to be the word divorce or something which may mean divorce. I will come to that in a minute. The speaker must be able to hear it very clearly. Not the person who you are speaking to. He should be. Or if it's a person who cannot speak, a dumb person, then it must be written. Even if it's writing it down, that goes. What if we can't even, do that? He's illiterate. Then sign language, something which is very clearly understood to mean whatever he's saying. That is okay. All of these things are considered love. They are like a word of divorce. But there are few other conditions. Intention. If someone said that I had the intention to divorce in my mind, but I haven't pronounced the word yet, would it count? It wouldn't count. Why? Because the essential thing is to speak out. Speak out something. Either speak out or write or in the sign, make it clear to the person who you're speaking to. It must be clear. So I have got a lot of whisper about divorcing my wife every day, every night. Many men would testify to that. That doesn't count. Any whisper doesn't count. Any thoughts doesn't count. Action of, mistreating your wife, God forbid, is haram. Shouldn't do that. But even that doesn't count as divorce. You have the intention to divorce and yet you keep torturing her with that intention, doesn't count as divorce. It must be pronounced either word or writing or some sign language for the person who cannot express other ways. Now, if someone is deaf, then he can't hear it. But the word has to be pronounced in a way that it is, in the normal circumstances, hearable. If there's a word, hearable. Like something which is audible. Audible word that I can hear. So I said something which I can hear. Now there's a lot of noise. The minute I said, at the same time, coincidentally, there was a thunderbolt. A big train, just ran past me. Someone just blasted or the car burst. So I couldn't hear, you couldn't hear. No one could hear. But I said in clear words that should be, in normal circumstances, heard by the individual. Done. Is that clear? This is how it is. Okay. But since it is the word of the individual pronouncing it, It must be from that individual directly. Not a recording, not echo. So you said it here, but I heard the echo on the other side of the mountain. When you're in this, beautiful place, you said it, but no, that's not. So like, if that word which you said is counted, not the echo, not the made up sound of anything. So even if the husband and wife are completely separated for years, whether you, God forbid, being brutal and bad person, oppressive, and you kicked her out of the house and she's living with the parents, or she decided that I don't want to live with you and she just left the house for years, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, or you mutually decided I'm living in this country, you live in that country, for whatever reason, business reason, job reason, whatever, visa reason, mutually agreed or with complete dispute. Unless you have pronounced divorce or decided or said something that may mean divorce with the intention, it is not counted as divorce. So many people say, oh, being separated for that many years, is it divorce? Okay, so divorce is divorce. It must be said, either in any of the three forms. So there's separation in Islam.
These conditions, are these the same conditions for when saying nikah as well?
That's a good point. So what about nikah? There was some detail on that. There's such an issue there. We cover that. That's coming as well. Nikah is coming as well. Not going much far. This is the beauty of Surah-Al-Baqarah. After we've done the initial whole ruling coming up. So someone last week who was here, he said that, oh, I said I'm coming for the Tafseer lesson, but that was fiqh lesson. I said, yes, you were right. Actually, it was, because we were talking about iddah and all the details of that. So tomorrow will be the same, because remember, whole deen is connected, interconnected. You take your ruling from Quran. That's your basis. And then obviously Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the fuqaha. So separation. The beauty of Islam is that we are Ummat-e-Wasat. We are the middle ground. Christians, in Christianity, you cannot divorce your wife no matter what. You have to live together. It's haram in the religion to divorce at home. In Judaism, you can divorce as many times as you like, and you can take her back as many times as you like. Every time you take, however many times, no limit. Islam is, you shouldn't divorce ideally, because it is something أبغض الحلال إلى الله أو كما قال. The most hated thing in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the halal is divorce. Allah doesn't like people divorcing, but there may be a situation when Allah instructs you to do so. When did that happen? No, Allah instructed. Zayd ibn Haritha, yeah. The only Sahabi whose name is mentioned in the Quran. Zayd, by name. Obviously, many stories about many Sahaba. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed him. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala instructed Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam through revelation to let him divorce. Yes, because there is a need for it. There's a bigger good to be had through that, bigger benefit to be had through that. So in Islam, it's middle way. We don't want it, but if there was a situation, then you can go ahead with separation. And we discuss all the steps, how you do it. We'll cover that again, inshallah, just briefly. So there is separation. One can separate. So if it is initiated by the husband, it is called talaq, generally, and the types of it and how it is done. And if it is initiated by the wife, it is called khula. Khula, separation, to seek the separation. And there's another concept which is called talaq, but tafweed, I will explain that, where again initiated by the wife. With regards to husband divorcing, it depends on, there's several different ways of looking at talaq. The words used. Is it clear-cut word? The clear-cut word would be divorce. The word talaq. I gave you divorce, I divorce you, I am divorcing you, I have divorced you, any of those forms. Or it is kinaya. It is not clear-cut, it is a little bit dubious, doubtful. मेरे लिए मर गई तू. You're dead for me. We have nothing to do with each other. You're no more my wife. I don't want to be with you, type thing. The word that may mean leave me alone forever. Go back to your parents. Whatever words we use, it depends on the culture. That word may mean divorce, and it might not mean divorce. You can't just say, sometimes it is like, Are meri maa, sun le meri baat. Sometimes you say it like this. But that does not mean, some culture saying like this does not mean mother, does not mean divorce, because they don't mean it like that. Sometimes I heard people saying, Are behan, chhod de meri jaan. They do not mean behan in that sense. That's not, culturally it's okay. The people who I found out is sometimes they call even men behan. They would say, Ben, meri baat suna. So why? Please don't say it. So they say it like this. But that's culture. Bhain. Sometimes bhaijan become behan. It looks like behan, but they mean bhaijan, bhain. And so that doesn't mean talaq. Okay. So the word must be having this idea of divorce. And then, although the word is not divorce, but it may have that. And it must be coupled with intention. I will come to that. Sometimes the style, how you did it. And we mentioned the ahsan, the hasan, and the bid'i one, or you can call it bid'i, 3 ways. Qabih, or you can call it as well. What is ahsan? What was ahsan? That's the quiz we mentioned last week. What was the ahsan way of divorcing? What is the best way of divorcing? Loud.
You give the law, and then after one word, you give, and so during that word, you're in separation, but the wife still stays with you.
Very good.
You have to take care of all the needs, and then you give in the second word, you take the lock again, and then that's where the second word begins.
But that's the second best. This is Hassan. But the one above that is no, that is a condition. So remember, let's go back. So what you said was Hassan talaq, good talaq. One above that was you do not need to give second or third talaq. She separated even by one. Let her finish her iddah. So number one, when do you divorce? If you needed to divorce, what are the conditions? The time of purity. The time of purity, which is qar, plural, is quru, so qar'un. That period when there is purity, meaning that she's not having hayd, okay, menses. So she's pure now. In that period, and that could be anything according to, there's difference of opinion on that. Either 15 days, we've discussed that all before. Minimum is 15 days in Hanafi school. Has to be between 2 periods, 15 days minimum. Okay. Could be long, could be as long as it takes, could be months, doesn't matter. Whatever is the habit of that lady. But normally it's a monthly cycle. So you have about 21 days. Because the maximum hayd is in Hanafi school. What is the maximum days of hayd? 10 days. Okay. Minimum, you got good eyesight at least, even if the memory is gone. So 3 days minimum, which is 72 hours. And maximum 240, which is 10 days. That's maximum. You can't have more than that. You can't have less than that. Anything more than that or less than that is istihada. Dysfunctional bleeding. That's a different, which is the same as having dribbling, having nosebleed. You just wash and pray. It doesn't absolve you from the responsibility of prayer. So in that purity period, you would give the divorce, but there's one more condition. In that purity where you have not had any sexual relationship. So why was that? Why we want to do it in that time? So you do not prolong the iddah unnecessarily, because if she becomes pregnant, you only find out in the next month, and she's already pregnant, you've extended the iddah to 9 months. That's, cruel. Don't do that. You're not harming there. You don't want to harm her. Then you've been oppressing. Follow the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. What does that mean when you have to do the divorce in the purity and in the purity where you have not had any sexual relationship. What does that imply? What does that imply? What is the what does it mean that when you say this, what is the connotation of that? What is the practical issue with that? What does it say? What does it tell you? It tells you that you can't divorce in anger. You cannot divorce in anger. Why? Well, you can, but you can't divorce in anger without thinking in rash, completely irrational attitude of frothing and really just doing it, because you have to step back and think about divorcing. You'll be angry, obviously, but only angry means that you're angry, but you're thinking. At that time, when you have to pronounce it, you can't be getting completely crazy about it. You have to think, what is this time? You've not been together. I don't even remember her date. No one remembers their wife's date. They don't remember sometimes. So you need to make sure that you know what is the time. If she's having hayd, then you're committing sin. It's a bid'ah. And when was the last time we were together? Oh, only 2 weeks ago. If this is purity, I can't do it. Automatically, you would control yourself. All the boys come in front. Udhar aa jao. Side mein aa jao mere. Back the right side. जरा देखो, बातें कर रहे हैं, मस्तियां कर रहे हैं. So that that's the implication. They must think. You must think about when are you divorcing. Okay, it's very, very important. So the best is you just divorce in that purity once and leave her alone inside your house. You will be providing for her food, shelter, accommodation, everything, clothing. And once she had her 3 periods done, she's freed. She would go to her place. You would give her dowry back if you haven't done that before. And she would have that money that she can invest whenever. The time you have divorced, you would just give it straight at that point, unless you have already given it to her. And it is even better that give her some gifts as well. When she's leaving the house, some imam would make it a must to give her at least a piece of clothing, a set, a jora. क्या कहते हैं उसको? A suit, yeah. A dress proper, 3 ideally, top, bottom, and a short. Sometimes khimar. So you're literally letting her go in the nicest way. That is sunnah. That is the beautiful. How do people do? You know that. How much distant apart we are from our deen. And no wonder we are in the mess, because everything we have corroded with our bad attitude, behaviors, and completely ill-mannered attitude, our emotions, egos, rancor, malice, hatred inside. Can't see ever again. Anyone who asks me about that girl ever, I'm going to say the most harshest words against her. I never seen anything good in that lady ever. And you see, subhanallah. So the second, in the second tahur, if you give in the second divorce, then the third and third one, then you are mughallaga forever. Like this lady is mughallaga. Means 3 divorce anytime. She is separated from you forever. That's the way. But it is, so here we say, if you have clear word, it is called sarih. It doesn't matter whether you have intention to divorce or not. You use that word to her, done. If you use the dubious word, kinaya, get out of my sight. I don't want to see you ever. We have no relationship. I'm nothing to do with you. We're not related anymore. Go to your mom's, whatever. But you intended, then your intention is counted. If you did not intend, it will only just get out now, in that moment. Then it is called kinaya. Here, you would have to have intention. If you have intention, then it's counted however many you thought. 1, 2, or 3. That's up to you. The style I already told you. The best one is to divorce at the time when you never had any relationship in that purity once. And let her continue with her 3 months, and she be like 3 periods, and she goes home. And that's the ahsan. The second one is to give the second one in the second, third one in the third. And Qabih is the bad one where you did all three in one go. That's bad. And there's, with regards to effect as well. What is the effect of that? Can you take it back? Or can you not take it back? There's one called raj'i. Raj'i means where you can take her back. Take her back. When can you take her back? When you've given one, or when you've given three. Once you have given three, she's gone. You can't take her back. You haven't got any. You can take her back after one and two in two ways. One, where you have complete authority to take her back. And there's a situation where you do not have authority, but you can take her back. Who can describe the difference? What is the difference? How is the difference?
The idda is
Very good. Based on idda. So you've divorced once or twice, and she has not completed the idda yet. 3 waiting period is not completed. 3 haid hasn't completed. Or if it was, God forbid, she was pregnant and you divorced, that's dhulm, but you've done it. Maybe you didn't know, whatever. Then 9 months or whenever. So if she has completed her idda and you want to take her back, you're too late. You can take her back with her permission now. Then it has to be a new nikah between you and her, provided you've done only 1 or 2. Okay. You understand that? If you are doing it before she has all 3 periods completed, all 3 haid completed, before her idda period, then you have a choice to go freedom. You don't have to ask her permission. She can say not or yes or okay or not okay. It doesn't matter. She has nothing to do with it. It is like she has, so she lives in your house, the door is not locked yet, and you have a choice to close the door. She would be staying in. She goes out. Once she's out, she's out. You can't ask her to come in. You can request her to come in. She can come back to you as your wife with the new nikah. With the new nikah. Okay?
new witness.
We'll come to that. Obviously, all the conditions, all the conditions. Mahar is not required in the raj'i, but that's all nikah related issue. We talk about this later on. The other is irrevocable. The 2 irrevocable positions, which is one is called ba'in, one is called mughallada. Mughallada when you've done 3. 3 in any form of fashion. Once someone has got 3 divorces, they are mughallad. Mean it has established. It's not just you have locked the door as well. You can't even open it. And you've thrown that key in the well. Gone. Okay. There's no way you can take that back. There's only one way, which is you heard about that, and that would come. It's called halala. You heard about the word halala? What it means is, then that lady, on her own, goes after idda, marries someone, and that individual either dies, or he divorces this girl, this lady, and then she has done an idda. Now they mutually, oh, you're still available. I want to marry you now. They just happen to discuss this, and then they got into this new nikah. That is fine. That is halal by consensus. Quran mentions it. But what people did, they started doing this as a business. To start, na'udhu billah, this haram way of causing people to do this. And then if they wanted to go back, they would just say 1 night nikah with this person, and then that's not permissible. That's haram. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam cursed the person who does it with the planned nikah to divorce. Mutually planned. That lady and that man planned to do the nikah, and after the first night spent together, they would divorce, and she would just come back to after idda, come back to the first husband. That's a planned thing between 3 of them in any form, not allowed. But it so happened that the husband and wife, they were so much in love with each other that they wanted to be together. It just happened that he said 3 divorces, and they actually are regretting after the idda, and they're completely dumb or whatever, down and upset or whatever. The children are suffering. Then that man somewhere, sometime, he knew it. He realized it. And he, on his own accord, without discussing with the man or the woman, He approaches the lady and says, you know what? I want to marry. Okay, fine. She does the nikah. And after the nikah, within a day, few days, a week, whatever, he divorces. Without planning, divorces. To give her the chance to go back to the man. That is perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with that. In fact, that's a, it's okay. There's no problem. Nothing planned. He himself decided on his own, seeing them in this difficulty without any discussion. You see what I mean? So that's different. But to plan is haram. And to have that intention, your nikah is invalid anyway. If you have the nikah where you say that I have the intention of divorcing this man on day 5, 10, whatever, then your nikah is not valid.
The talaq which the second person gives with good intention, that can be just one talaq, or it has to be two talaq.
Could be either. Could be even one is fine, but she has to complete the iddah, and then she would go back to the man, obviously. Remember, it is not just nikah, it has to be the intercourse afterwards as well. That's a must. Can't just do nikah and then leave her alone. Okay. And then mughallada, this is the mughallada. Ba'in, that's another category where, okay, ba'in, I will explain ba'in in a second because there are few situations. Ba'in means you do not have a chance to take her back without nikah. And one ba'in situation, I already mentioned. What is ba'in situation? Where the raji'i become ba'in. If you have divorced twice or once and she has completed her iddah, she is ba'in now. Ba'in means she is distant. If you've given one divorce or two divorces, yeah, and she has completed her iddah, you can't take her back without nikah. So ba'in is that. Likewise, she initiated. She asked for khula. She said, I want to be separated. And then she got acceptance by the husband. This is called khula. That is ba'ina as well. You can't go back to her, even if it's one, obviously it's counted as one, but this is ba'ina. You have to have nikah. Even the next day. Okay? Or you give divorce without the word divorce, but you did it with this kinaya. You intended divorce, but you did not use the correct word. Rather, you used the मर गई मेरे लिए, दफा हो जाओ, with the intention or whatever, अपनी अम्मा के घर जाओ. In Arabic and English, in whichever way, go be with your parents or whatever. You have got no relationship and you intended divorce with that, that is ba'ina. You cannot go back to that lady without new nikah. Okay. There's a concept called talaq tafweed. Talaq, if anyone knows that, I mentioned that briefly without details. Tafweed means to consign to someone else, to resign it to someone. So the men says at the time of nikah, I give you, at the night time of nikah, I give you the authority to divorce yourself should you want to divorce yourself, should you want to get rid of me. If you want a separation, I allow you that you can implement that divorce from me on my behalf whenever you want. So sometimes there is this nikah contract in Pakistan and some other countries as well, where they ask this question. Well, we normally cancel it, but normally they say, does the wife, the future wife, has the right for the divorce? Meaning, she said, I want to give myself divorce whenever I want to separate myself from you, because if you be horrible and I want to get rid of you and I ask for khula, you might not do it. I would rather that you give one, ability to me so that I can divorce myself on your behalf. So there is good and there's bad in that. Generally, not advisable. Why? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given this right to men for a reason. The reason being, not talking about current men, because current men are more women than men. So you can't trust them. In fact, I'm fearing that some of them started having hayd very soon. So that's all mutated men, not talking about them. A proper men, I'm talking about, they would be more sensible. They'd be more mature. They would not blurt out stuff like that. They would think twice, 3 times, 100 times before they think about divorce. In the extreme of the situation. Obviously, that's a sensible person. You do not expect him to take things lightly because he has to maintain the family. He is the caretaker for the children, for the family, for everyone. The wife can have ups and downs, not because she is not able to cope, but because she is emotionally more volatile compared to the stability of men. She is emotionally hurt more often than the men. Because men goes out and they're busy doing so many different things. Allah made him such. The women are very much into this idea. And their hormonal swing every month with the cycles keep them, show that attitude every so often. You have to be sensible enough. She was completely fine yesterday. What happened to the maybe? Let's find out. And that is when emotionally, if she is not in the best of the behavior, she would divorce herself, because you've given her the right. That's why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't give this right to women. Obviously, but there will be a situation where she wants to divorce herself, like she wanted to separate. She has the route, which is khula. Go to the court, go to the qadi, go get your parents involved immediately, and they would help you with that, because they would all work it out, and your emotional imbalance at that point would be coupled with the wisdom of your parents, and things would work out very nicely. But what we are seeing now, because everything is lopsided, that is why historically you would not find people having any concern about this. No woman has the idea of getting, I want to get the right. Normally they wouldn't. No one wasn't that, because people were sensible. Men were sensible, women were sensible. They realized everything. They were okay people, mashallah. Now in the modern world, everyone has their right. So they want to exercise that. And then obviously then there is a problem, a big problem. So people are now going into this idea of tafweed, where they would just say that I want this right to be delegated to me and I would decide. And you know what? Before she wakes up, she has already divorced herself. Oh my goodness, did I? I never meant it. So obviously that situation happens so often. If you were allowed to divorce, I can guarantee you, anyone who's married here, there could be one or two exceptions, and even online. Maybe I'm over exaggerating, but you would not find a couple. They've been together for good 5 years, and the wife hasn't asked for divorce. I doubt that. And 5 years for the previous generation. But this generation, 3 months. 3 to 6 months, wife said, I don't want to live with you anymore. Divorce. That's quite common. Common occurrence, almost everywhere. So what does that mean? If she knew that I can divorce myself, what would she do in that moment? Out straight away. 3 to 6 months to a year. So Allah made it such that, behave. Now, but the men are so crazy these days that if I was wife, I would want to get rid of this man within 3 months. She's right, actually. So what do we do? The man who can't even look after his nappies, that, he needs to be sorted out properly. So for that, there is a middle way. So some fuqaha would decide and would explain to you, if you're really in that situation and you have got bad experience and you want to go ahead with that, then get the right of only one divorce, which is talaq ba'in. Ba'ina, one ba'ina. Get that one. Or even better is, because why not Raji? You give one divorce of Raji. He would say, okay, you've done that? No, I take you back. You're back to square one. If you really want to get rid of this man. And he's not going to give you khula, because most men don't want to give khula these days because of their ego. They're crazy. Here, if you give one ba'in, at least, but again, put as a condition after the consultation or approval of my wali, or Imam of the Masjid, or Mufti of the time, or someone. Meaning that I put it as a condition that I would get myself divorced from you if you're so horrible, and I feel like then there will be one baina, so that you do not take me back without my consent in future with the nikah. I do not want to let that door completely closed, because maybe it's children or whatever, maybe time changes. So I want to keep that door open. So baina once, one baina, well, baina is only one anyway, but with the consent or approval of my wali. That could be my brother, my father, name any of them, or the imam of the masjid, a sensible counselor of some sort. Qadi, Amirul Mu'mineen, the counselor, someone who's sensible enough who could advise me in that situation. Then we can look back. So before I divorce myself, I would look at that under his supervision, and then we come to the clear agreement. And if we all agree, father says yes, rather than I've given myself divorce and I come, what do I do? I want to go back. My kids, I'm missing my kids type thing. Don't want that drama. You understand that? So that could be the middle way. So as to keep check and balance on both sides. So the man knows that she would leave me straight away if she says so, because I've already done that. So the both sides, inshallah ta'ala, would be covered. I don't know. That's a suggestion from me.
He got a right for review when she.
No. She can't. There has to be husband doing it. It's not that she is divorcing herself. She is saying, you are divorcing me, but you have given that key to me. I would open the door and go out. So man is divorcing, but he has, as you delegate your right to the wakil. For example, if you want to divorce someone and you can't see her, they're so scared. But by the time if I go to her and say that I'm divorcing, she's going to kill me. So I'm not going in that vicinity. I would stay away. I'm so scared. There was a joke about this. They said, everyone who is scared of their wife must leave the room. So everyone left except for one man. And he was sitting there, he was like, wow, you are the man of the time. We want to give you this reward and big award. He said, but how could you keep that? Oh no, because she said don't go. So this is the situation. Yeah. So if you are like that, the good thing is you don't even understand the jokes. So that's so it is. You have to explain it in a nice, maybe diagram it. Then in that situation, you can delegate. Oh, can you on my behalf divorce? I make you my wakil. You go and you're my lawyer to go and tell her that I've divorced her. But let me run away first. I've got my ticket for tomorrow. I'm going to my mom's house. So that's called talaq tafwid. It's okay. You can do it. Obviously, when he is the one giving the tafwid. No, this means that I have given my right of giving you divorce to you. You can give it to you whenever you want. That's the time of nikah. You've done it. Then you don't need any intention. What is the intention? Your intention is already done. Yeah, we don't disclose. So if I do nikah, I would not tell girls about this. I would not tell boys about that. You don't need to know that. If you know it, come and ask. Why did you not learn about your fiqh? It's not my responsibility. I'm not there to do your nikah and give you whole lecture, which I've been talking for half an hour about this, all the talaq types and all the nikah types. That's not my responsibility. That you should be learning on your own in your own time. It's not the responsibility of the imam. And we normally cross it. Why? Because that was when people were mature. Because now both sides is completely immature. You do not know. So now, this is why we come up with this idea.
Is something which is from Quran, Hadith,
based on Hadith, yeah, based on fiqh as well. So yes, that's perfectly fine. Agreed upon. There's no doubt about that. Yeah. Don't do that though. I'm teasing. Talaq Mubarak is similar. It's like khula, but it's mutually agreed upon, which is what normally happens. Is you just agree on let's divorce and let's sit together because you have not done talaq tafwid before, but you just want to sit together and have a clear discussion about it and sensibly mutually agree on that. Again, woman starts. Talaq ahsan I've already mentioned. You divorce in the time when it was purity and you've never not had sexual relationship. One talaq and she stays in your house, you support whatever you need to support her with. And then after 3 periods, she just leaves the house. You can reconcile within the iddah period without her consent. After 3 months or the iddah gone, with her consent and a new nikah. You have to do nikah with, obviously nikah you can't do without her consent. And then Talaq Hasan, I said, this is a gradual one. We just divorce. Some Imam would say it like in 3 periods. Because the reason for that term, sometime in this country, especially, the people know that you would give one divorce and you would take back in 3 months. So you don't want to do that. For the second wife would say, no, you must make sure that you have to. So you do not want to go for 3 in a haram way, which is bid'i way, and this is although it's effective, but it is highly disliked. It's a bid'ah. Rasulullah was very upset about that. You're making mockery while I'm alive, Rasulullah said. And Sayyidina Umar would at times flog you for this. So I would do the same if I get the chance. So Talaq Hasan, so then you want to definitely make sure that I do not take her back to prove, and she is like happy with this, that's fine. You can do it in 3. Talaq Baina, as I mentioned, here you cannot take her back. You haven't got a chance to take her back, even within the period, and there are different situations. First is khula, I mentioned, mubarat is likewise, we mentioned already. Divorce before consummation. If you just done nikah, and then you divorce her, then this is baina as well. You can't take her back. Okay? If there was no consummation, I mean only nikah done. And obviously, revocable divorce after the iddah becomes okay. So that was another thing. So revocable divorce after the nikah to baina. So someone who was a baina, she has taken khula, now you've done a new nikah, or you've given 2 divorce or 1 divorce, she has done a 3 month of iddah completed. She is baina now, yes? Now you want to marry, and she agreed. New mahar, new dowry and everything, you've done the nikah. Even if you give 1 divorce now, she becomes baina again. You can't make her raj'i. She can't take her back. Okay, so that continues. Mughallaza is triple divorce anytime. Now, you can't take her back, as I mentioned. So that was the background for the introduction, so that you have a bit of idea about that. But a lot of detail on that. So I'm hoping to do a whole session on this. This would take good 2 hours minimum to just go through it again at some point, but not now. Maybe after Ramadan, so that people are aware. But we do it with nikah as well. So make it 2 or 4 hour maybe session with food or whatever, so that you guys bring food and I bring the talk. And that is how we should be doing it.
If talaq is done between husband and wife, let's say, for example, once or twice, and then he takes her back, and then some time passes by, is that still in continuation?
So the minute you've taken her back, she's your wife.
But then again, the ruling of 1, 2, 3.
Okay, no, only. So every time you've used, you only have 3 in your lifetimes are only 3. Yeah, that's a 3 lifetimes. You've used it once and you've done second nikah even after baina. You still got 2. You haven't got the third one. You do not renew it. You can only renew it. The renewed 3 is after 3, like after halala, if that happens, as I said. Other than in all the situation, whatever card you've used, done. There's accidental reconciliation, unplanned reconciliation, but no planned reconciliation. You can't do anything. Something can happen automatically, which is that she gets married to someone else, lived together, consummated there, and he dies. Not that you killed him, or she gets divorced for whatever reason. She's used to getting divorced nowadays, so she's just getting divorced from everyone. So that's the second one. Let's get divorced. Keep yo-yoing between people. Astaghfirullah. But then, if she decides and you decide without plan, then that halala is okay. Then you can marry.
You don't want in a setting. Technically,
you divorce forever.
On paper, you're still married. So although she takes a khullah from you.
No, so if you have divorced 3 times Islamically,
yeah,
she's gone.
She's finished.
It doesn't matter what the paper says. Paper can say whatever.
Paper don't mean nothing.
It's all verbalizing 3 times, done. Whether she heard it or not, doesn't matter. You heard it, you said it, pronounced it, even quietly somewhere, written it down, told someone, hold them. You can't take her back. But obviously, she would do her iddah when she finds out, whenever that was done.
There was a famous case many years ago in Pakistan. Husband and wife and they were married overseas. They were actors, they were working in a drama, and they were husband and wife in the drama. And he actually divorced her in the drama 3 times.
In joke, it would happen
There
in.
was a lot of talking, whether it happened with the last or not. I don't know what your opinion is.
It's clear. Happen, obviously. You can, even in joke, divorce is done. Even in whichever form and fashion you do it. You do it to the individual who is in your nikah, though. You never got nikah, a lady walking by, I divorce her. And then you married her afterward. That doesn't count. That's a different thing. You have to be husband and wife when you divorce that individuals. Okay. Even in joke or in dramas, in anger and in fun, whatever. There's a mockery of deen, but you still get that. So that is why you be very, very clear about that.
Like different language में एक ही बार में तलाक
अब वो अभी आ रहे हैं, उस पे आ रहे हैं, वो आ रहे हैं, वो अल्लाह मियां खुद ही बयान फरमा वहीं से अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला की तरफ से आएगा. Yes.
Khula.
Khula.
If the husband doesn't agree to the khula, and she has to go through
The court, Islamic court, ideally. Non-Islamic court cannot nullify or cannot, does the what you call nullification of the nikah. Islam, so khula is only valid. So you as a wife request for separation, husband has to agree to it, either by force, by twisting his arm, by asking, giving him some money, bribing him, begging him somehow. The only individual or only team that has 2 people who have the right to nullify that without his consent is Islamic court, Sharia court, either here, even in the UK, Sharia court can do it, or the Amir al-Mu'mineen, Muslim head of state. He can trash it. No one else can do it. Okay. Is that clear? So the court notice has no value in that. Unless court notice says that she has done it and you accept it, sign it, agree, and then you did it, that's fine. You've signed it, that's done. Whether you want it or you have to make sure that you do not accept it, even at the court. So because you've chosen between the two. One thing was, we would penalize you for £5,000 or you'd be in jail for 6 months. Or sign it and accept it. You chose acceptance. So you've accepted it. Whether you liked it or not, that's a different matter. But you accepted it. You have to accept it for the khula to be valid.
Let's say like, what it's saying.
So I can't hear.
Let's say someone is drunk or you're saying.
So the good question, if someone is drunk, someone is completely insane, as long as it's proven and they're sure that they could not make it out, they didn't know what they were saying, then it's not valid. It has to be that the person knows what he's saying. But don't say that many a times, I was so much enraged that I didn't know what I was saying. So how did you then know that you've said 3 times? And your mom was sitting next, you divorced to your wife, not to the mom. You should have done the same. It shouldn't have mattered. Which means that you knew what you're saying. Many people claim that the problem is when people were very trustworthy, people were good, you could trust them. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam would say, okay, this is the famous story of certain Sahaba. I was about to discuss that, but we'll leave it today. Did you mean 1, 2, or 3? So he said 1. So that is a possibility. That would happen. That used to happen, but not anymore. So Umar radiallahu ta'ala anhu in his time and Ummah as a whole by consensus agreed that no more. You can't trust the individual for even a penny. And now he's claiming, wife said, I heard 3 divorce. Yeah, I didn't mean 3. I only said no. You can't trust you anymore. You have lost your trust as a whole. Men as a whole have lost that trust. They're not men of word who would die for their statement. That is why you would hear the story of people, common people even, when they've taken oath in the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they would go out of their way before they break it. So that is why the man came to say, Imam Malik rahmatullah alayhi mentioned the story, how he said that, I would, if something happened, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala let me have that, I took oath that I would do this. His nazar was that I would do one ibadah for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that no one in the earth is doing. Then Imam Malik got him, he wanted to fulfill that oath. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him this idea to ask the Shia. This is what it should be. He came to the Shaykh of the time, Imam Malik rahmatullah alayh. What did Imam Malik say? Take my note to the governor of Makkah. He went there, governor of Makkah. This is Malik ibn Anas. He said, stop the tawaf for him. Let him do the tawaf. So that he is the only one doing the tawaf at that time. He got this luxury of doing tawaf on his own, all by himself. This is what you get when you do the right thing in the right way. And he managed to get his ibadah, his oath fulfilled for the ibadah that no one else in the land, in the earth was doing. Imam Shafi rahmatullah alayh, someone came. When I had, after so many boys, this girl, I was so overjoyed. I said that I would give you the wealth of both worlds. And now I didn't realize I got this girl. So I was happy and enjoying or whatever. Now for your nikah, this is what he said. When I would make you go to your husband on your wedding, I would give you this dawlat of the whole world, the wealth of both worlds. And here she is now getting married. I didn't realize, been 20 years or 18 years. I'm concerned. How could I do that? I cannot fulfill my oath. Imam Shafi said, is she hafiza? No. Teach her Quran. Give her the education of Quran, because Quran is the dawlat of the whole world and better than that. And he, took some evidence for that and he explained all of that. I said, mashallah. So they took time off for a year or a few months, got her into hifz, memorization and understanding of Quran, and she became the richest person. Knowledge of Quran, obviously. So that can happen. So they were the men of word. They would go out of their way, delay the wedding, doing all of that in order to fulfill the word that they have spoken out. Ibn al-Daghna, he saw Sayyidina Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala. Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu ta'ala was making a migration to Medina, where everyone else was doing initially in the difficult times before Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he went to Medina. He was just going out. Ibn Daghina got him. He said, where are you leaving? Where are you going? I said, I'm going because the people do not let us have peace in here. I said, no, the likes of you should not leave this place. You stay here. I take responsibility for you. No one would disturb you from now on. He took him, a non-Muslim, took him, brought him back in his house, and he said, oh people, I have given the protection to Abu Bakr. No one touches. No one says anything to him. And no one did. No one did. There were ladies, Muslim lady, non-Muslim lady, whoever. They said, I have given protection. Rasulullah ﷺ said, stop. Even a Muslim lady, men, slave, anyone could give protection to someone. That is always honored by Islamic State. That is what we call the men of word. This was the state of Ummah. And today, you can't trust anyone, whatever they say. They always take with a pinch of salt, as they say. Because there's always going to be something, including me. You can't trust me, whatever I say. You can't. Even to this saying, we would do that session. You said, maybe we do it, maybe we not. You wouldn't trust, and you shouldn't trust, because we are not trustworthy people. La dina liman la ahda lahu, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. The one who cannot hold on to his trust, he's not, keeping his promises. He hasn't got deen. This is a sign of hypocrisy, and we are practically on this route of hypocrisy. And we say it, and you hear it, and we still carry on. No problem. It's no common thing. So in this time, in this day and age, how could you trust someone saying that I actually meant one? No, the problem is you would do the same again. The situation is not going to change. She would remain the way she is, as arrogant, as stubborn as you are. Both would be same. The loggerheads, you're only giving a respite to fight and bite back again. So what difference would it make? Anyway, so just for barakah, let's read this ayah so that we can do the translation. But this is the ayah, which is the topic for the next issue. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
الطلاق مرتان
الطلاق مرتان.
فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان.
فإمساك بمعروف أو تسريح بإحسان.
الطلاق, the divorces, مرتان, twice. So then afterwards, imsak means to hold, keep someone. بمعروف, in goodness. Or tasrihun, let her free, release her. بإحسان, in goodness, in the best way. And that's where the discussion about triple divorce comes, and we will discuss that, because that is, so far whatever I mentioned is almost agreed upon, briefly and broadly agreed upon in Ummah, with few details here and there. But what is next is the talaq given, or divorce given in one sitting, three together. Does it count as one or is it three? That's a difference of opinion. Just to summarize it, all four Imam agree that three is three. For majority of Sahaba, they agree on that. There are about 2 or 3 Sahabas mentioned that they believed otherwise. The three is one. But those ahadith have been rejected by the majority group or 4 Imams. There are certain subsequent Imams, good statured Imam, like Imam Ibn Taymiyyah, rahmatullah alayhi, Imam Ibn Qayyim, and few others. They hold the view that 3 is one. It cannot be 3 ever. In one sitting, it will always be one, no matter how many times you give. But that's a minority view, which, as I said, none of the 4 schools took. And throughout the history, even now, all 4 schools agree that 3 is 3. Shias have different view. They said 3 is 0, not even 1. Don't count 100, 0. And in technical sense, that is much more of a valid, well, appealing. If it is invalid to say 3 or, and it counts as y is counted as 1, even throw it away. If it's invalid, then it's invalid. But anyway, Qadianis have the same opinion, but they're non-Muslims, obviously we don't need to worry about them. So what is the evidence from this side and that side? We will tackle that next time, but not in too much detail, although I will show you the evidence from both sides, just briefly, to be ready for that. May Allah give us tawfiq. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.